Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Young Guns podcast. And today we'll be talking about the Johnathan Kovacevic trade. So, obviously, if you guys have paid attention over the last couple of, over the last hour or so, Johnathan Kovacevic has been traded from the Montreal Canadiens over to the New Jersey Devils. Now, in exchange for this pick, the Canadiens acquire a 2026 fourth round pick, which is conditional. The condition being that it will be the highest of the three fourth round picks that the New Jersey Devils currently have available, which will either be Dallas's, New Jersey's, or Winnipeg. Montreal frees up about $766,000 with this trade. They also open up a roster spot on their contracts, which is good in case they need to sign some free agents tomorrow once free agency opens. So, why did Montreal make this trade? Well, Montreal's an interesting team. They have a lot of defensemen on their roster. They obviously have Justin Barron and Arbor Xhekaj that they need to re-sign as well. They've got prospects like Logan Mailloux and David Reinbacher as well on the right side that they want to obviously look to see if they can make the NHL team. They also have David Savard. But in general, the Canadiens had a logjam on defense. Now, obviously, a lot of it's more on the left side compared to the right side. But even still, I think for the Canadiens, this was a move that wasn't necessarily a necessity, but it was something that needed to be done, considering the fact that the Montreal Canadiens are obviously looking to, move on from one of the defensemen. That was the rumor that they had going into it. So it's an interesting move for the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, Johnathan Kovacevic, 27-year-old defenseman, has played 2 seasons for the Montreal Canadiens, was a waiver pickup from Montreal in 2022, 2023. He played 77 games during that time, 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points, and was a +3, very steady in 22-23. And then 23-24 played 62 games, 6 goals, 7 assists, 13 points, and a +11. So he's a very steady, bottom six defender, top six defender, sorry. He can play on your top six. He's a good, guy to have as your seventh defenseman as well if you need to. Very steady, good locker room guy. Plays a physical game, but is very, very just responsible on his own end, can move the puck really well. And just all in all, just a good, teammate, good player to have. Unfortunately for him, I think, his time in Montreal fell short just in terms of the fact that, like I said, they had a log jam on defense, which caused, this trade to happen. Now, what does New Jersey get, from this deal? Why is this, what type of player is he? Well, he was acquired by New Jersey. He's a puck carrying two-way defenseman who's acting in his own end and kills penalties, has done solid work for Montreal in the third pairing role. And if you look at his, wins above replacement percentile, I mean, he's got some really good numbers. And he's a third pair defenseman. He's 27 years old. He's a guy that I think, or he's 26 years old. He's gonna be turning 27 July 12th, so he's basically 27 at this point. And it's a move that I think is not necessarily the prettiest of moves, but it's a move that I think needed to be done. Unfortunately for Kovacevic, like I said, he fell short in terms of just the roster, construction of things in Montreal. Now, obviously, with that being said, New Jersey's in an interesting position. They've been looking for right defensemen, for pretty much a while. There's rumors that they're linked to Brett Pesce. There's been rumors of them being linked also to other defensemen. They moved on from John Marino yesterday during the draft when he sent them to Utah. So obviously, they needed to replace some sort of, replacement or the right hand side of their defense, and they do that with Johnathan Kovacevic. Um, for them, they didn't really give up much. He's a cheap player. He's on the final year of a 3-year contract. He was a waiver pickup, so obviously there isn't really much value to that. But even still, I think a fourth round pick in 2026 is reasonable. Would you have liked more? I think if you're a Canadiens fan, maybe. I mean, there was no real, let's say, this wasn't a deal that was, let's say, expected. I think a lot of people probably looked at this and went, okay, it's a depth piece at the end of the day. But for New Jersey, it makes a lot of sense, especially for a guy who they want to who they can use on their back end. Like it's a really good move for them as well to do that, and they don't have to give up much to get it. And he's a cheap asset, so I think it makes sense for both teams. I'm not necessarily gonna start saying that Montreal is this was a bad trade or whatever. I think a lot of Habs fans are probably, let's say, upset about it or don't really get it. I mean, I think for Hughes and Co, it's going to be interesting to see what they do tomorrow during free agency. It's a big opportunity for Montreal to bolster their team both offensively and defensively. And like I said, with the logjam on defense, it's going to be very interesting to see if a guy like Logan Mailloux, David Reinbacher, if those guys can crack the roster, and if Montreal is planning on maybe making a move for a more veteran presence on the back end, the guy that's maybe a little bit more valuable and also has a little bit more experience and can play a top four role. So we're curious to see what Montreal is going to do on that aspect. For New Jersey, the rumor is that they're going to get Brett Pesce. I think, for them, it's about, adding to their decor. They have a young roster over there, especially with Luke Hughes and obviously Simon Nemec being the two big guys. They got rid of Kevin Ball in the deal for Jacob Markstrom. And then obviously yesterday they made a move to get rid of Holtz and Schmidt. So they've been active in terms of on their team to try to bolster their team and make it better. And I think they do a very good job here in this move with Kovacevic. They're gonna like him. Devils fans are gonna like him, and he's a guy that's gonna be there for your teammates. He's a guy that in the corners is gonna play hard and play physical. But he's also the type of guy that you don't want to mess around with, right? He's going to be there. He's going to stand up for his teammates. And I think that that's exactly what the Devils need. They need good character guys in their locker room, and they're getting that with Johnathan Kovacevic. So he's going to be missed in Montreal. I think for him, it's a great opportunity to play on a team that is probably going to be, in contention for a playoff spot next year and in a good position in terms of where they're at. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for him. And, I wish him nothing but the best in New Jersey. With that being said, guys, stay tuned for more videos. Tomorrow is going to be a very hectic day in terms of all the free agent signings that are going to be made. And obviously, what's going to happen around the NHL. So obviously stay tuned for that. There's going to be videos coming out from us directly, kind of recapping them and going through it. But also I would like to know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of this deal? If you're a Habs fan, do you like this deal? If you're in New Jersey, do you like this deal? And also, what are your thoughts on Johnathan Kovacevic? And, do you think he has potential to maybe be a little bit better than a top six defenseman? So thank you guys for watching. I will see you on the next episode of the Young Guns podcast. Peace.